Hey, what's up guys? This is Coach Kyle here with Performance Gains. I'm here to help you learn how you can control your life with a simple tool that I use all the time. It's free, it's always available, and you only realistically need a couple minutes to do so, and that is with the tool of your breath. Our system has two ways of determining how we respond to stress. The first is what we call a sympathetic response. That's our fight, flight, or freeze. And our second response is our parasympathetic response, and that's our rest and digest. Now, any source of stress, whether that's work-related, life-related, or even positive stress like running, lifting weights, and all those kinds of workouts you're doing, that's all categorized under our sympathetic nervous system. Now, most people in today's society run on sympathetic all the time. They don't have any times to downregulate or relax, and when they do relax, it's very minimal. So my goal with our breath practice and explaining what all of this can do for you is how we can get that sympathetic nervous system down and increase our, what we call, parasympathetic drive. So with every ounce of stress we have, we need to balance that with some parasympathetic responses. Now, like I said, breath is an easy way to do so. We like to say, how you breathe affects the way you move, and how you move affects the way how you breathe. And what I mean by that is, if you think about when we're sprinting or lifting weights or going through a cardio class, as your heart rate increases, so does your respiratory rate or your breath rate. That can be flipped into saying when we're sitting at our desk, it's not very strenuous on the body, but if we start to get stressed, typically what happens is your breath rate starts to increase. That might mean a lot of shallow, short breaths. It could also mean a lot of yawns or sighs. All these things are increasing our breath rate, which help drive that sympathetic nervous system. And that response is negative if it becomes chronic. Now, to counteract those things, the first thing you need to do is be aware of how you're breathing. We like to say, if you're not eating, talking, or drinking, your mouth should be shut. Meaning, using this guy here, your nose. If you breathe through your nose, it helps drive that breath down deep by activating your diaphragm and your intercostals. What happens a lot of times is, as we get stressed, our breath starts to become more shallow, and we do what we call chest breathing. And you'll see this all the time. People lifting their chest, especially in movies and cinema, when people take a deep breath, it's chest rises, neck rises, you get tension through the neck. It's completely wrong. What we want to do is get our diaphragm to start to contract, and how we do that, the easiest way to get that diaphragm working is breathe through the nose. Our diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle that sits underneath that rib cage, okay? And so when it's relaxed, it's that dome shape. And when we contract that diaphragm, it actually flattens out. And that flattening of that diaphragm in our rib cage actually draw that breath down deeper into our lungs and into our body. And if you think about the shape of your lungs, it's a triangle or a diamond or a pyramid, however you want to call it, it is a triangle, right? So meaning the smallest amount of volume that can fit in that diaphragm is at the top. So if only chest breathing, we're not getting very much oxygen in there. But if we can get that diaphragm to contract and pull that air down deep, we're getting it into that base of that triangle there. And so not only are we slowing down our breath rate, but we're also getting a more full breath. So like I said, the first thing you need to do is be aware of how you're breathing. Are you taking a lot of yawns or sighs? Are we taking short, quick breaths through the chest? Are we taking slow breaths? Are we breathing through the diaphragm in the belly? We need to be aware of how we're breathing first before we can start to adjust and fix these things. Now, when we're trying to be more of a parasympathetic state, we need to have nice, calm, short breaths. So in through the nose, out through the nose, a nice gentle rise of the belly, fall of the belly. Now when we're starting to slow our system down and going from that sympathetic response into that parasympathetic response, this can be a kind of a hard thing to do. So what we want to do is start to elongate our exhales. And when we start to elongate our exhales, we start to increase that parasympathetic drive throughout the system. As we get better at this, the longer the exhale, the better. Research has shown about 7 seconds is sufficient, but just by elongating it by a second or so, should help increase that parasympathetic drive throughout the system. Now our proper breath wave, like I said, we want to get down deep, should start from the belly. So as we inhale, that belly should rise, so you're driving that belly away from your body. Next thing we're doing is expanding that rib cage laterally, and then we're finally letting that breath travel up into our chest. So if you want to think about a breath wave in terms of filling a bucket up of water. As we fill up that bucket up of water, the water goes to the bottom first, then expands outward to the sides of that bucket, and then it starts filling up to the top. Same thing with our breath. We want to start down deep, drive it out wide, and then let that breath travel up. So when we start to go through some of these breath practices, think about deep breath first, then out, and then up to the chest last. Now, if you've never done any form of formal breath practice, this can be kind of challenging. So where I'm going to have you guys start in terms of that is just focus on getting that belly to rise on the inhale and get it to fall on the exhales. Once we get good at that, then we can start focusing on the rib cage. We'll start with just the belly up as we inhale, the belly falls as we exhale. That's a great place to start, especially if we're breathing through our nose. So like I said in the beginning, your breath is directly related to how you respond to stress. And so by controlling our breath, we can then control how we're responding to these things. So recognizing when we're stressed or when we're even breathing at a stressful rate and starting to shift that to a slower breath rate to elicit that parasympathetic or that rest and digest response is the goal. We can do this a number of ways. I tell beginning clients of mine that to start, you don't need to allocate 30 minutes, hours of time to this. Realistically, if you did just 5 breaths in a row, that's going to be much better than ignoring it and kind of pushing on. So understanding and being aware of what's going on inside the body and how you're responding to things, and taking this next step in controlling those things by breathing, we can then help calm the system down, whether that's after a workout, in the middle of a work day, you just had a tough meeting with your boss or your kids are acting up and you're starting to pull your hair out. Take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, even just 5 breaths to calm the system down. And so what I'm going to take you through today is through 2 tools we can use right now. The first one, with the team over at XPT, we call it Take 5. We call it Take 5 because we're using our hand as our guide. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with one hand at the base of your palm, and then we're going to inhale through the nose. Remember, driving that belly away from our spine as we reach the fingertip. So we're going to start with our thumb and work all the way up to our pinky. So we're going to inhale. When we hit the top, we're then going to exhale through the nose. When we hit the bottom, we're going to inhale to the index. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And sometimes that's all you need, is just those 5 seconds to kind of break up that process of falling into that spiral of stress. Right? By breaking that spiral and that thought process of, oh no, I got this to do, I got this to do. Joe over here and Jimmy over here is doing this. Stop. Just take 5 breaths. Even if it's 3 breaths, just stopping and breaking that chain of events from happening can go a long way. And so that's a quick tool I like to give to a lot of my beginning clients. Another practice I'll give them is what we call box breathing. We call it box breathing because if we think of the shape of a box, which is a square, right, we're going to use each side of that square as a part of our breath. And so I'm going to start you guys off with 3 count all the way around. And if you feel like it's super easy, feel free to add 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. But just start with 3 and get a feel for how it feels, how you're breathing. Is your belly rising? Is it falling? Are we holding tension in our neck and our chest? Are we squeezing our hands? Are we holding any unnecessary tension elsewhere? But just start with 3 seconds, get a feel for how you're breathing, and then from there expand outward. Like I said, the goal is to start to slow those exhales down to elicit that parasympathetic response. So we'll do this together. We'll go through a few minutes of this. Remember, we're going to go 3-second inhale, so up on that box. We're going to do a 3-second hold, coming across on that box. We'll do a 3-second exhale, coming back down on that box. And then we'll go 3-second hold again to finish off that box. So what I'm going to have you do is find a comfortable position, whether it's on your back, seated, laying down. Just get comfortable, that's the most important thing. And I like to have most clients go one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. And all that's going to do is going to give you some tactile feedback on how you're breathing. So if you feel your bottom hand not moving at all, and you feel that top hand moving a lot, you know to switch that, right? As we inhale, start with that belly as it rises, and as we hold, and as we fall, that belly is going to fall with us on our exhales, okay? So wherever you are, get comfortable. Sometimes I like to get comfortable laying down, closing my eyes. Being out in nature is always nice, but most importantly is being in a comfortable position that you feel safe to do this. Now as we breathe, don't be afraid to let your breath be heard. So whether you're humming or what we call an ocean breath, which is imagining if you're fogging up a window, that little pressure in the back of the throat, we call that an ocean breath. Don't be afraid to let your breath be heard. Okay, so get comfortable, lay down on your back. We're gonna inhale for 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, exhale, 3, 2, 1, hold, 2, 1, inhale, 2, 1, hold, 2, 1, exhale, 2, hold, 2, inhale, hold, exhale, 2, 1, hold, 2, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, slowing it down, inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale, 3, 2, 1, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale, 3, 2, 1, hold, 4, 2, 1, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale, exhale. Go ahead and sit up. That's a quick couple minutes of breath. So if you want more resources on this, we'll have some links for you. There's a couple apps that I like to use a lot. The first one's called Insight Timer. It's available on both iOS and Android. The second one is called XPT Life, and that's where I learned a lot of this stuff through Gabby Reese and Laird Hamilton's system of their workouts and their lifestyle and how they kind of have developed all of this stuff. But both of them are free. Both of them have paid services as well. I believe that XPT Life app is only on iOS right now. So unfortunately, if you have an Android, you don't have access to that, but you do have access to Insight Timer, which is another app that I use all the time. Again, You can find me at coachkai.com or coach_kai90 on Instagram. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed learning about breath and what it can do and how you can control your life better just by breathing.